Welcome back, viewers. It's been some time again since I've posted, so I apologize for those of you that were waiting for content on antinatalism and associated subjects, but this will be one. It'll be kind of a little bit of a tangent off antinatalism, but we're going to be looking at what is good, what makes something good when we consider the moral question. The bigger moral question is it right to bring people into the world, that kind of thing. But for today, we've just had Halloween the other night. I think it's November the 2nd today. And I want to look at first this idea, the ritualized extortion of trick or treat. So a child comes up to a house and he says trick or treat. It should actually be treat or you'll get a trick, right? So in other words, give me something as an offering and I won't do something to your house, something detrimental. Of course, this is ritualized. It's not going to happen, but that's sort of the game that's being played there. And this is kind of a reward punishment paradigm in much the same way that the idea of a heaven and a hell is a reward punishment paradigm. It's a set of incentives that drives people in certain directions. Now, if you're certain of a reward, if you're certain that by not hurting other people, behaving yourself in society, that you will receive a great reward, a really great reward for doing that, even a psychopath would still probably follow those incentives. They don't have to be a good person or a moral person or a considerate or intelligent person. They simply have to follow the incentive that they feel will elevate their self-interest the most. So when we talk about somebody who's doing something for a reward, we cannot assume that that person is good or moral or upstanding or elevated in some way as opposed to anybody else. They're simply following their reward and a path to their incentives. So what then would make a good person? Would a good person be doing something because it isn't good for them? It's almost kind of perverse, right? You think like somebody's doing something maybe to benefit other people at their own expense. Every time they do something good for somebody else, they suffer to some degree. That doesn't seem to make sense either. It seems kind of insane to do that. So you can see by looking at these two polarities of, wanting to do something for your own self-interest or doing something that seems to be against, which will eventually be against your own interest. There's something wrong with this equation, right? This is not adding up correctly. And what I propose is what's being missed here, what's the reason it's not adding up adequately, is the idea of the separate self. So if you consider yourself to be an entity within a larger world or universe that is in a transactional mode with that universe, trying to get everything that it needs and to avoid dying, and that's the game of life, and you're only ever isolated and again in relationship as far as transaction goes with the rest of the universe. That's where most people kind of feel themselves to be, and that's why this equation isn't working. The conception of the self as being cut off from and separate from the rest of the universe. Of course, every time we take a breath and inhale and exhale, some part of the universe is coming into us, and then some part of us is going back out into the universe. Is kind of a nice metaphor, but it's true of sunlight, it's true of anything that we eat, it's true of our relationships with other people. We're always taking in and giving back. We're a semi-permeable membrane, not a completely isolated cell. We're part of the universe in the same way that a cell on the tip of your finger is responsible for sensing the world. This is one of Alan Watts' great metaphors. In the same way, we are sensing the world on behalf of the universe. We're an aperture through which the universe is understanding itself, is seeing itself. So goodness really is simply the ability to recognize the truth of the matter, which is that we are part of something much larger, and that our own end or our own beginning may be significant to us on a local level, but it is not significant any more than one of the cells falling off your finger is significant to you, to the universe. it will be replaced. Something else will be there to experience in the same way that old cell was there for some period of time. So recognizing that we don't have to worry about our ending or another beginning. The stories we've made up about heaven and hell and reincarnation are simply that. They're a mythology, something that our ancestors may have perceived to be important as a placeholder for real knowledge, which is the understanding, the felt understanding that we're actually part of something much bigger. So that's kind of an affirmative one for today. It does relate, of course, to things like antinatalism. If you're worried about the human species going extinct, well, you can worry about that, and there may be some legitimate reasons to think that we might be the only particular form of consciousness like this in the universe. But I believe that the universe is conscious itself, and so there's no problem with spaciousness and non-existence, and there's certainly problems with existence, though some of us are able to justify those issues and make good of it anyway. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll hopefully be back relatively soon with some new content. If you have anything you'd like me to talk about or consider, please let me know in the comments below.